Good chilly morning. It's Travis again, and greetings from the Great Smoky Mountain National Park. As you can see, we did get some snow this weekend, so a little colder than normal. But I'm about to hike the Cooper Road Trail, which is right here. And we're gonna head off in this direction. But just wanted to let you know there are a couple more trails right here. If you come over here to the left, there is the Rabbit Creek Trail. And of course, the most famous one here is Abrams Falls. And we'll get a shot of that real quick. But the temperature when I left home this morning was around 23. Up here in the mountains, I'm assuming it's probably in the upper teens. So it is cold. And just to kind of give you a shot of this real quick before we get started. Here's the bridge that takes you over to Abrams Falls. And as soon as you go over the bridge, if you bear to the right, that takes you back to the Elijah Oliver cabin. And then Abrams Falls is back towards the left. But anyway, I've got another video on that for Abrams Falls that's actually, it's got over 2,100 views so far, which is by far the best video I've done, but or at least the most popular. But let me switch this over to my chest cam in just a second. But before I do that, let me give you some directions on how to get here, and those are coming up right now. If you're driving from the Maryville-Alcoa area, you'll pass through the city of Townsend, and then you'll come up here to the Townsend Y. If you make a left, it takes you back towards Gatlinburg. We're actually going right towards Cades Cove. Here we are entering the entrance to Cades Cove. Over to the left is actually where the campground, store, picnic area, and bike rentals are located. We're going to continue straight into the Cades Cove Loop. Took us about 12 minutes from the Townsend Y to get here to the entrance to Cades Cove. Alright, so the trail that we're going to hike today is Cooper Road Trail, and you can park here on the left, and as you see, the entrance to the trail is to the right. So that is one spot that you can do it, so you can hike from that point and go up and back. But we're going to go down a little farther and park at the Abrams Falls parking lot and go from there, so we can make a loop all the way around back to where we started from. Just for point of reference, you'll cross over this wooden bridge. And then as soon as we pass over that, we're going to come up to the entrance of Abrams Falls trailhead. And we want to make a right here. So this is the parking area for Abrams Falls, but there are a couple other trails that start here, one of them being the Cooper Road Trail that we're going to do. So we can park here, and there are restroom facilities, which makes this a fairly nice place to stop. All right, welcome back. Let me switch over to the chest mount, and we'll get started. All right, so like I said, we're going to be doing the Cooper Road Trail. And I know it says it's 1 miles. That's just to get to the trail itself. The round trip loop on this is a little over 11 miles, which is by far the longest hike I've done so far. And as I mentioned earlier, the temperature right now is probably below 20, in the upper teens, and you can see there is snow on the ground. The one thing I will mention about getting here to this trail, you have to go through Cades Cove Loop. And there was a lot of traffic this morning just for the fact that everybody's coming up to take pictures of the mountains with the snow. So that took about 20 minutes just to get from the entrance of Cades Cove back here to the parking area. Since Cades Cove is such a popular area, there is a lot of traffic, so just be aware of that. It does take some time to get here. But as you can see, hopefully this is showing up really well on the GoPro, but hard to beat some of the views up here with the snow on the ground. Makes it really nice. Not sure how well you'll be able to see this with the sun shining into the camera, but the sun coming up over the mountains with the snow on the ground, pretty awesome sight. Here's another view, probably a little better than the last one, but just being able to see the mountains in the background and the sun starting to come up. Well, I got to this point and I got a little concerned because I couldn't see the trail or where I was supposed to go, but luckily it just bears over here to the right, and I'm gonna keep my fingers crossed that there is a place up here to cross over the water without getting wet. I was gonna do the trail up here to the left, that rabbit trail. I can't remember the full name of it, but I'd read in the comments that there's some water crossings that there was no bridge, and if the water was up too high, you couldn't go across it on rocks either, so I knew that was going to be a problem. But as you can see, this trail right here is giving me a little bit of a issue on where I'm supposed to go. Let's try this way. Alright, so luckily it looks like it does go around the water, but I do believe I'll have to cross over at some point. Well, at this point, I've kind of lost the trail. It run me up here next to the road, so I'm going to walk up here and I assume catch up with the trailhead that we passed earlier. Here's the wooden bridge that I had bragged about, so I assume this is the water crossing for me. Try to get up here before traffic picks up, since this is kind of a one-lane bridge. Alright, well, here's another nice view of the mountains and the fields with the snow, with the sun coming up. Alright, so if there was a trail through the woods to get here, I was not able to find it with the snow covering it. But on the directions in, I showed you there's a pullover right here to park. And then here's the trail itself. So I've walked up the road to get back to this point. But Cooper Road Trailhead, this wet bottom trail, I know that's what runs into this. And we'll find it up here in just a minute. But for the life of me, I could not find it in the snow, so I chose the safe route and just walked up the road, which didn't cost me that much time. So anyway, here's the trailhead itself. All right, so I believe this is where I should have hit this trail, but like I said, I could not find it. So I don't know. I know this will run back all the way back down to Laurel Falls, but see what this says. I Board Cane Trail 5.5, this direction. So I think that's one that we run into. And there's the Wet Bottom Trail back to Abrams Falls, 1 mile. It's the Rabbit Creek Trail. So that's the direction I should have come up, but I just lost the trail, so I decided to take the road, which was a little safer. But anyway, that's back towards the road. That direction takes you back down towards Abrams Falls parking area, and this is the direction we're headed. Well, I've got my hiking poles with me this morning. I started taking them, especially on these inclines. They give me a little bit of extra boost going up and then help me going back down, so the impact's not that hard on my knees. And here's a little water crossing. Not much of one, but it's something. But anyway, I knew I would need these today because with the snow and the ice, the ground is frozen at the moment. But I do know that as it warms up, that it's going to turn into a muddy mess and get really slick. So at least using these, I've got 3 points of contact at any one given time, and hopefully minimize my chance of slipping and either falling down completely or twisting an ankle. So something just to consider. These they go by the name Go Together. So go and then the number 2 and then gather. And I ordered the set off of Amazon for like 20 bucks. Actually, they had a coupon on it, so they were like $16 plus tax, so under 20 bucks. And they're actually not bad. I know there's probably some more out there that are far superior to these, but they're probably in the $120 to $150 range, and for 20 bucks, they do exactly what I need for them to do. So just something to consider if you start doing more longer distance hiking. Like I said, this trail is, I think, a little over 11 miles, so it'll take me about 6 hours to complete this one. Definitely more snow as you get farther into the trail. I think it's the fact that there's so much shade from the trees and the sun's not able to penetrate to thaw out the trail itself. But this right here is not so bad, but that's where there's runoff. There's another little crossing. Not too bad a one, but definitely could get your foot wet. Luckily, I do have my waterproof boots on. Here's another shot of the trail. You can see definitely covered with some snow, but luckily I can still make out where you're supposed to go on this one. But I'm about to get up here to a section where like it's covered even more, and I expect that's going to be true the farther we get in to the forest here. Well, as I thought, the snow does cover more of the trail as you get farther in. I mean, at least you can tell, because this one's wide enough that you know you're going the right direction. But if it was a narrow trail and it doesn't give you any indication with the snow, it just makes it very, very hard to find. You know, make sure you're going in the right direction. But luckily, this is a pretty wide trail. I'm not sure if you can see it or not, but there's some prints here in the snow, and it looks like to me it's probably a deer that's made its way down through here and then onto the trail at some point. But all right, well, we are coming up on a water crossing here, and luckily it does have a concrete bridge to go across. We're coming up on another water crossing, and this one seems to be a little dicey. I don't see any major rocks to stand on. So let's give it a shot here. That's definitely a good spot to have these walking poles. Gives you a little bit more stability when crossing water like that. Well, just wanted to show you a little bit of the terrain here. The elevation so far has not been horrible, you know, ups and downs, but as you can see going right up through here, now it picks back up, and still quite a bit of snow. Luckily the sun's starting to come back, or starting to come out now. The skies are clear, so it does feel like it's starting to warm gradually. But I just wanted to show you, I mean, this is what the terrain's been like most of the time. I don't know if you can see, but basically it was coming down, we hit a point, and then going back up again. But overall not too bad. Definitely had worse. Well, I'm currently headed downhill right now, but if you can see it over here in the distance, that's the trail that goes back up. So lots of ups and downs on this trail for sure. So in the process of going down, I'll make a turn here and then go back up, but just kind of give you an idea. Hopefully you can see that from here a little better than like when I'm actually walking it, but I just want to kind of give you an idea of what this trail looks like as you continue to get on into the middle of it. And then it does look like we're coming up on another water crossing here, which hopefully is not too horrible. Well, definitely some significant water, but fortunately there are some rocks here. Like I said, these hiking poles, they just help so much just to give you some additional stability. I mean, you could have crossed that without these, of course, but you know, one step into this cold water with it being this cold out would make a miserable rest of your hike. So I would highly recommend investing in a couple of the hiking poles. Well, I've come across several places like this where there's just some trees down, and you just kind of have to make your way. It's not easy going. Most of the path's been clear, but this is probably the worst one I've come to so far. Well, coming up on another water crossing. Alright, luckily there are some rocks here. I thought for a minute when I saw this area, a little concerned. Still not 100% confident I can do this without falling off. Ooh, definitely better than I thought. Alright, well finally come to the first intersection, which I didn't know I was ever going to make it or not. Almost noon. Gosh, I think that's taken me almost 4 hours. I think I may have bitten off a little bit more than I could chew. So, we got Beard Cane Trail, Ace Gap Trail, 4.2 miles that way. This is where we just came from. Cooper Road Trail. So, Cades Cove Loop, that's where we came from, 5.5. The Abrams Creek Ranger Station is 5.4 that way. And the Cane Creek Trail, 1.8 that direction. And where we're headed is here. Hatcher Mountain Trail. So Little Bottoms Trail, 2.6. And Abrams Falls Trail, 2.8. Abrams Falls is where we're headed. So we got to go 2.8 miles this direction to hit the next trail intersection. Well, here is another spot in the trail. Looks like it will be a little difficult to navigate. What a mess. Well, this trail definitely has its moments where it gets narrow and grown up. Right now it's not too bad with it being in the wintertime, but I would say in the summer this might be a little bit harder to navigate. Alright, coming up on another water crossing, and I could be in trouble on this one. There are no rocks. And I think I'm gonna have to walk across this tree, which is covered in snow and ice. But I do believe that is my only option without wading into the water. Ugh. Well, and let me tell you something. This bush is a holly bush with lots of thorns. Oh. Yikes! And they are sharp and sticking to me. So, that was a challenge, and I hope I don't run into another one of those. Oh gosh, had me a little worried, to be honest, but we made it across. Alright, we're coming up on another water crossing. This one looks to be much easier. When I heard water again, I was actually kind of dreading it. Normally I look forward to it, but after that last little adventure, definitely wouldn't recommend that, but I really didn't know another way around unless I went upriver or downriver in order to try to cross it. But anyway, it's all good. Alright, so I'm coming up here on another intersection, and there's some water, major water over here to my right, and I'm hoping there's a bridge to cross or I'm in trouble. Alright, so Hatcher Mountain Trail, Abrams Falls, that direction to the left, and then Cades Cove is that direction, which is where we want to go. Let's see what this trail is. Little Bottoms Trail, Abrams Creek and Ranger Station. Huh, I did not know that. So anyway, that's the direction that we're going to head off to. And trying to see Abrams Falls, 1.9 miles. All right, so that'll be our next stop, Abrams Falls. All right, we're coming up on another intersection. I wasn't really expecting this one. So Abrams Falls Trail, Abrams Falls to the right. Ranger Station, of course, Cades Cove. And then what is this? That is Hannah Mountain Trail, Rabbit Creek Trail. All right. So I need to go this way to the right, but I'm gonna head right down here real quick just to see if there's a crossing here, because I feel like there's not, but I'm gonna double check that real quick. So this is why I did not hike Rabbit Creek Trail this morning. And luckily I had looked online beforehand. There's nowhere to cross. Like, the trail picks back up on the other side and you literally have to wade through this. So in the summertime, when it's warmer, I mean, I still don't know if I would do it. You'd have to wait till the water's down. That's a pretty severe current, and it's very deep. So be very hesitant on doing that trail, because like I said, if I had tried to hike that this morning, I would have come over here and hit a dead stop and would have had to turn around. So just keep that in mind on the Rabbit Creek Trail. I was actually worried I was going to run into that situation going this direction. So I'm hoping there's a bridge up here, or at least we stay on this side of the river. Ooh, man, these water crossings are starting to get the best of me. I think it's just the fact that the water's up higher than normal. That one probably wouldn't have been that bad in the summer. But yeah, a little bit of a challenge. I hope I don't hit any more. And guess what? Another water crossing. Glad there were some rocks there. Well, here's another obstacle. This one looks like a fresh one. Whew. This trail is getting the best of me. Oh, another mess. Alright, well, this is a sight for sore eyes. I finally made it to Abrams Falls. Alright, well, this is definitely iced over. And there's several people here. Well, I'm not going to film too much of the falls since there's so many people here. And I've got a totally different video a few weeks ago on the falls itself. But thought I'd film a little bit anyway, just to prove that I made it here. Here's another one of these bridges. And then here are the steps up from the waterfall. A little icy and slick, but not too horrible. Ooh, I said it was not bad, then I slid. And another one of these bridges. Man, I wish they'd take a couple of these and move them up on that other side of the trail. Well, there's definitely a lot of water to look at on the way into Abrams Falls. Thought I'd get a little bit of it here on the way out. Probably the best view, but I'm not going to try to climb up there in fear that I'm going to slip and fall. But anyway, you can see the river down there, and if I was younger I would try that, but I'm not going to. Well, I'm coming up on the final bridge here to get back to where we started. And there we have it. Made it back safe and sound. Well, just to let you know, if I had come up here and decided to hike Rabbit Creek, that's literally the starting spot, the starting point, and this is what we would have hit. And you would have had to have crossed the water to get to the other side. So just keep that in mind if you ever decide to do the Rabbit Creek Trail. Alright, so there you have it. That was Cooper Road Trail to Abrams Falls Loop. A total of 14.5 miles, and it took me 7 hours and 20 minutes. So I would not recommend that hike unless you're just looking for a really long trail to do. If you want to see Abrams Falls, just go straight there and back. That's 5.5 miles round trip. Much easier and much better trail. And I'll put a link at the end of this to that video so you can see that and a close-up view of the falls itself. But if you like this video, please hit the like button, and I would ask you to hit the subscribe button. That way, once I have any new videos come out, you'll get a notification. But again, I hope you enjoyed it, and until next time, we'll see you then.